Once upon a time, in a bustling city filled with towering skyscrapers and winding alleys, there lived a remarkable blue Russian Felis catus named Sage. His soft, woolly fur and gentle demeanor set him apart from the typical alley cats that roamed the streets. Sage's life had been a series of adventures, filled with ups and downs, but he had managed to survive through his wit, charm, and a bit of luck. In his youth, Sage had been the beloved pet of a kind-hearted elderly woman named Esmeralda. She had taken him in as a small kitten, nurturing him with love and care. Esmeralda had a particular fondness for cats, and she made sure that Sage never wanted for anything. He was fed the finest delicacies, hand-fed by Esmeralda herself, and was given a warm, cozy bed to sleep in each night. However, as Sage entered his 9th life, tragedy struck. Esmeralda passed away, leaving Sage alone in the world. As a purebred blue Russian, Sage was susceptible to certain diseases, and without Esmeralda's care, he found himself struggling to survive on the streets. It was during this time that Sage crossed paths with a tiny, faux-pod creature named Mycroft. Mycroft was a modest, mighty mouse, ingrained with the teachings of the revered Mussolini. Despite his small size, Mycroft possessed an indomitable spirit and a sharp wit. When Sage first encountered Mycroft, the tiny mouse was in the midst of a rallying cry, attempting to inspire his fellow mice to steal away hefty blocks of Monterey Jack cheese from the local deli. Sage, intrigued by the mouse's bravado, couldn't help but watch from a distance. To Sage's surprise, Mycroft and his band of merry mice succeeded in their quest, outsmarting the deli owner and escaping with their prize. Impressed by their ingenuity, Sage approached Mycroft and struck up a conversation. As the two unlikely friends chatted, Sage learned of Mycroft's daily drills and the importance of humor and strategy in outsmarting their feline nemesis. Mycroft, in turn, was fascinated by Sage's tales of his life with Esmeralda and his struggles as a street cat. Over time, Sage and Mycroft became inseparable. They would often wander the city streets together, Sage acting as a protector for the tiny mouse, while Mycroft shared his wisdom and taught Sage the ways of survival. One fateful day, as the pair were scavenging for food in a back alley, they were confronted by a group of tough, battle-scarred alley cats. The cats, led by a massive black tom named Brutus, were known for their cruelty and their disdain for any creature that was not of their kind. Brutus, upon spotting Sage, let out a menacing hiss. Well, what do we have here? Pretty little purebred, slumming it with a filthy mouse. You're in the wrong part of town, kitty. Sage, drawing upon the courage instilled in him by Mycroft, stood his ground. We mean no harm, Brutus. We're just trying to survive, like everyone else. Brutus let out a cruel laugh. Survive? You won't survive long out here, pretty boy. These streets belong to us. Just as tensions were about to boil over, Mycroft scurried out from behind Sage, his tiny chest puffed out in defiance. Leave my friend alone, you overgrown furball. Brutus and his gang were taken aback by the tiny mouse's bravery. What's this? A mouse with a death wish? Mycroft, undeterred, continued. You may be bigger and stronger, but you lack the wit and cunning to truly rule these streets. I challenge you to a battle of wits. Brutus, amused by the mouse's audacity, agreed to the challenge. Very well, little mouse. If you win, you and your pretty kitty friend can go free. But if you lose, you'll both become our evening meal. Sage, worried for his friend's safety, tried to intervene, but Mycroft insisted on going through with the challenge. The challenge was simple. Mycroft and Brutus would each have 1 hour to gather as much food as possible. The one with the most impressive haul would be declared the winner. Mycroft, using his knowledge of the city and his network of mouse informants, quickly set to work. He gathered bits of cheese, crackers, and even a few scraps of meat from various locations, all while avoiding detection. Brutus, on the other hand, relied on his strength and intimidation to gather his food. He bullied smaller animals and raided garbage cans, amassing a sizable pile of scraps. As the hour drew to a close, Mycroft and Brutus reconvened in the alley, their respective hauls laid out before them. Brutus, confident in his victory, smirked at the tiny mouse. However, when Sage and the other alley cats examined the piles, it was clear that Mycroft's haul was far superior in terms of quality and variety. Brutus's pile, while larger, consisted mainly of rotten scraps and inedible garbage. Brutus, enraged by his defeat, lunged at Mycroft, intent on making good on his threat to eat the tiny mouse. Sage, acting on instinct, leapt in front of his friend, shielding him from the attack. In that moment, something incredible happened. Sage, drawing upon the love and courage instilled in him by Esmeralda and Mycroft, underwent a remarkable transformation. His soft, woolly fur began to glow with an ethereal light, and his eyes shone with a fierce determination. Sage stood tall, facing Brutus and his gang, and spoke with a voice that seemed to echo through the ages. "Enough! There will be no more violence, no more cruelty. We are all creatures of this earth, deserving of respect and compassion." Brutus, stunned by Sage's transformation, backed away, his tail tucked between his legs. The other alley cats, sensing the shift in power, bowed their heads in deference to Sage. From that day forward, Sage became known as the wise and benevolent ruler of the city's cats. He used his newfound influence to promote harmony and understanding among all creatures, from the tiniest mouse to the most battle-scarred alley cat. Mycroft, ever the loyal friend, remained by Sage's side, serving as his trusted advisor and confidant. Together, they worked to create a new era of peace and prosperity for all the city's inhabitants. As the years passed, Sage's legend grew. Tales of his wisdom, compassion, and courage spread far and wide, inspiring generations of animals to follow in his footsteps. And though Sage eventually succumbed to the inevitable ravages of time, his legacy lived on. The city's creatures, united by the bonds of friendship and understanding, continued to thrive, guided by the principles of the wise Blue Russian who had shown them the way. In the end, Sage's story served as a testament to the power of love, friendship, and the unbreakable spirit that lies within us all. His journey, from a small, vulnerable kitten to a wise and respected leader, reminded all who heard it that even the most unlikely of heroes could rise to greatness, as long as they held fast to the values of compassion, courage, and hope. And so, the tale of Sage, the wise Blue Russian, and his faithful friend Mycroft, the mighty mouse, became a beloved legend, passed down from generation to generation, a shining beacon of light in a world that all too often seemed shrouded in darkness. Their story, a tribute to the enduring power of the spirit, served as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, with the help of true friends and an unwavering belief in oneself, anything is possible.